What is up, my peeps? Joshua Smith here at GSD Studios. First off, thank you so much for checking out today's content. I'll make this extremely fast, but I need to plug our sponsors that make this show possible. Our first sponsor is PerfectStormNow.com, by far the most effective and affordable real estate agent website and database platform in the industry. It is the system I use to sell 50 plus homes every single month. Check it out at www.perfectstormnow.com. Our second sponsor is my personal 90-day mastery bootcamp, which is, again, my personal real estate agent mentorship program where we spend 90 days together, 12 live sessions. You get daily access to me inside the program. You guys, we go so extremely in-depth. There's nothing that's incomplete about this program. You're going to get all the tools that you need to go out there and crush it inside your real estate business. Make sure to go check us out, www.90daymastery.com. You can watch in-depth videos of exactly what's covered to see if the program is for you. See all the raving testimonials we have from all of the amazing agents and clients that went through the program. So make sure to check us out, www.90daymastery.com. All right, you guys, let's jump on into today's content. What's up, my peeps? Joshua Smith here with another in-studio GSD mode podcast interview. So today, you guys, we're going to be sitting down and interviewing one of my personal teammates, a top agent on our team. This guy's got such an amazing story. You know, he's been in the business now 5 years, been on my team 3 years. He got in the business, he left everything behind. And when he first started, he's delivering pizzas at night. He's trying to make this happen, and now his business is just, he's been able to create a predictable business that continues to grow and is just on fire right now. So we're going to go deep into his journey, what he's done, what he's doing, what he continues to do, all that fun stuff. All right, what is up, my peeps? Joshua Smith here with another GSD mode interview where every single week we interview top entrepreneurs and just straight up top badasses that are out there dominating their spaces. They're people choosing to not live a life of mediocrity, but instead to go out there and create big, amazing, epic lives for themselves and their families. So today you guys got a special guest here in studio at GSD Mode Studios. So a good friend of mine, actually teammate of mine, on the real estate team, one of our top producers on our team. And this dude is an absolute badass. So really stoked on it. I have Billy Schneider on the show. Welcome to the show, my friend.
I'm honored to be on, dude. It's just it's a pretty big honor. So
yeah, no, I'm stoked, man. I always share your journey and your story because it's such an awesome journey, you know. And I know you're doing a lot of different things today to expand your business. I know your business today is at a high level, but you didn't start there, you know. And I always like to go kind of deep into the journeys that let our clients here, because let's say you have a brand new agent that's struggling right now. They see you out there popping 20, 30 grand a month in commissions or whatever that looks like, and they sit there and I don't know, it's easy to put people, I don't want to say on these pedestals, but I used to sit there and think like people had something I didn't have.
Yeah.
Right? And then once you get to really know them, you're like, shit, man, they're just people that really struggle, they struggled, but they just never quit. They just kept pushing and eventually broke through it. You know, right? So, let's just kind of share, what led you to where you are today. So what led you into getting in real estate in the first place?
I lost my job. I got fired. I got laid off. Kind of opened the door for me. I remember I was working a customer service job, answering phones for a debt settlement company, and I worked really hard the first year, was moving up as best as I could, looking for opportunity. It looked like a great company to work to provide for a young family. I think we just had our second child at the time, so I was looking to make more money and do things, and but the room to move up just stopped after that first year. And I don't know, I got a little uninterested in it and just started to slack off a little bit. And I was actually trying to start my own landscaping business and use the company's printer to make some flyers. So which my boss was probably okay with, but then again, maybe not, I don't know. Which I only did one job for that company I made called Arizona Yards. And I actually hired a landscaper to come finish because landscaping kills out here in Arizona. But I got called in the office. They were laying off people. It was downsizing company, and they changed a bunch of laws. So I was out of work, and we were just about to have our daughter, our third child. And I was just like, dude, I don't know what to do. I drove over to Target and kind of walked around the store, and I was like, how do I tell my wife this? And, so I called my pastor, who's a big mentor in my life, and, just kind of shared with him. He said he'll be praying for me, looking for some opportunities. But, a few weeks later, he said, you should do something in sales. And I was just like, what, like sell cell phones at a kiosk in the mall? So, I had no idea what that meant. And I ended up cleaning houses for Arizona Equity Properties. A friend of mine from church, he said, hey, I do rehab for this investment company. We need to clean the houses. So I said, sure. So, I got pretty good at it, got my 10 hours of cleaning a house down to 4. But, I hated it. Cleaning up these foreclosures was nasty. And they would flip them. And then I just thought, I got great office skills. Why not call them and see if I get a job in the office? Well, they, invite me in for an interview. It doesn't go anywhere. 2 weeks later, the property manager they hired never showed up. So they say, hey, we need you to come work some spreadsheets, do some things. I show up, I show off. I get the job from interim to being on there helping with property management. So I got my foot in the door that way. And I just feel like it was kind of a God thing for me personally, because real estate seems to have fit like the perfect shoe, right? And for me personally, and it's working in sales and working with people. I'm able to work well with people. As I've gotten older, I get a little jaded, so I'm not always the nicest guy anymore. But for the most part, I get along with people really well and able to see what their goals are and their needs and help them accomplish that. But I started working this office. They were a small company, and they were just focused on picking up properties from the auction steps after the big market crash and flipping them, just making a ton of money doing flips. So selling to investors left and right. And I was just there doing property management, but they were such a small office. They brought in some people to tell them what they were doing right and what they were doing wrong. And basically you needed everybody to get licensed up in this office because they're on the phones talking price, terms, and availability. So they paid for the few of us that were in the office to do real estate school and get our licenses. And so that's basically how I got into the business.
Yeah.
So it was getting fired to getting into real estate school. And I know some people might be like, oh, you didn't have to pay your way, but I did pay my dues cleaning those houses and just getting in the right situations. And I can't ever remember that quote, but it looks like luck to some, but it was being prepared, working hard, and opportunity presents itself.
Yeah.
When you're down on your luck, it feels like.
Yeah, 100%. Love it, man. So, all right. So, because I know when I met you, you were still on the property management side.
Yeah.
Right? So what was kind of going on there that made you decide to transition into the resale side?
Well, I stayed with that company for, about a year after that when I got my license. I didn't really do any deals that first year. They were more about managing the business inside, and I wanted to go sell houses. I did a sell for a friend of mine, and that was awesome. Made some money. I wasn't really jiving with the company, so I looked for a new property management company that paid some smaller checks if I sold their property management gig, to owners and investors looking to hire on property managers. I get paid like $250 to $400 per hire up, or per sign up or whatever. And along that way, I sold some of those investors' houses that wanted to get out of having a rental in the first place, because property management's a nightmare. Yeah. It can be, until you learn how to master it. And that only lasted so long. You can only sell that property management contract and make money off of that. And for me personally, at least, and I didn't really have any coaching. I didn't really know how to do generating leads and getting new business, other than I had a mentor at the time that showed me how to do the contract part flawlessly. But getting new leads and new business, I had no money coming in towards the end of my time at this property management company I was with. And I ended up doing a deal with one of your teammates at the time, Beverly, and she was on the contract. She purchased one of my investors' houses with her investor, and I remember turning in the contract to my broker at the time, Joe Imany, and he said, "Oh, Joshua Smith, I know Joshua. He's a heavy hitter." I was like, "Oh, is he?" So I got to thinking, and at this time, since I wasn't doing that well in selling property management, I wasn't having new sales leads coming in for listings and buyers, I had to pick up a job at Papa John's, and it sucked.
Yeah.
And I remember listening to that Eminem 8 Mile song like over and over, and just that part where he's having a hard time provide for his family, and that's right where I was at. I was like, I know this is what I'm good at, and I think this is where I'm supposed to be, but I'm not able to do it. Like, what do I need to do? So I looked you up, researched your team a little bit. Then I reached out like, hey, how can I join the team? So I got an interview with you guys, and then I got on the team eventually after passing the tough scrutiny process.
Yeah, yeah, dude. So what I love about you is, because obviously with all the teammates, and not just teammates. I get so many people that reach out to me that are like, man, here's the situation I'm in. Here's what I want to do. Can you give me the roadmap so I can execute on it, right? And you take the time to give them the roadmap, and then very few people actually execute on it. They're really just kind of full of it about what they really want.
Yeah.
But I remember meeting you, and you're like, all right, man. I'm having to deliver pizzas. I think your wife she was waiting tables, and it was like, hey, at this point, like in this amount of months, I want to be no longer delivering pizzas. I want to be full-time in real estate and be in a position to have my wife stay at home. Yeah. Right? And it was just like, bam, here's what you do, and you just like you hustle, dude. And very few people do that, and you hit your goal and you hit it and you continue growing. So excuse me. A lot of people that are watching and listening to this podcast are a lot of people start in that spot where it's kind of a part-time gig and they're expanding. Kind of walk us through like how you did it. How do you go from you just joined the team, a new organization for you. You're delivering pizzas at night. Like, how do you go, creating that success that you have?
Well, for me, it was literally, jumping onto the team. I went from that first Arizona Equity Properties. They were paying me a salary, so there's not much motivation beyond that to really crush it in real estate. And then I went to that property manager. They were commission only, but you get paid almost weekly as long as you sold some property management contracts. But when I came to this team, it was really, I had to wait. Me and my wife, we didn't have a savings. I was working some part-time work, and I had some sales about to come in and close, but, that's 30 days out. It's like, what do we do between now and then? And it was kind of like jumping off that cliff, full-time commission only, which I know a lot of new agents are like, I'm not sure if I'm ready to do that. But it's really you burn your bridges, or not your bridges, but your boats. Burn the boats, and you got to make it or die. And I was really in that situation where I had a family to take care of. I had 3 kids, and I just had to do it. And so that drive helped me to ask people like you, like, how do I do this? And so, you showed me the buyer consultation video. So you showed me how to get appointments with the open houses. And you guys had some leads coming in at that time and the sign calls. So, I was eager to answer the phone. I can help you right now. I'm willing to meet. And just took a lot of the coaching that you offered when I joined the team. And a lot of it, was just the weekly meetings and doing the videos that you had already prepared and watching those. And so it wasn't a ton of one-on-one. It was more you had provided a system, and I was like, perfect, I'll watch the videos.
Yeah.
I can use my free time to do that, and it really helped. But it was just learning on how to generate connections with people to then see if they want to buy, they want to sell, and then watching those instructional videos of how to execute those meetings when I would get the appointment. So
yeah, love it, dude. So how long did it take you to go from leaving a salary job, right, to 100% commission only, to be able to build that business up and exit from the evening pizza delivery job and all of that?
Well, when I was on the team, I think in the first few months I had left the part-time gig fully behind, and from there I have not gone back. So I was at the end of year 2 in real estate, but that first year I wasn't really selling homes. My second year I sold about 8, and then that third year after I joined the team, I sold like 23 houses. So I went from like 8 to 23, they almost tripling my production. And that was just because you had a coach to listen to, a supporting team for when you had questions, you didn't know what to do, and just it's encouraging because we would do those kind of round table weekly discussions during the meetings of here's where I'm at, here's what I'm not doing so well, and and setting some goals. And really setting the goals really does help push you to meet the goals, because when you say it out loud,
Yeah.
you look like an idiot if you don't make it. So, and I hate looking like an idiot, even though I probably do quite often to friends and family or whatever. But when you say things out loud, you tend to produce it, you know, if you're committed.
So then going from 8 deals to 23, outside of the things that you just talked about, like what were you doing to generate those leads? You know, I mean, you talked about some sign calls that were coming in, which sign calls today, because of you know, I mean, the technology that we have, they just, you know, almost are non-existent. But outside of that, like what were you doing to generate the business?
Well, it was that first year I was doing the open houses, so you get, you know, free leads coming in, and we hadn't really started doing a ton of the Facebook posting yet, but the sign calls, you know, that year they were still pretty active. It was before like people were pretty heavily committed to Zillow on their phone and getting all the information themselves. But I caught quite a few deals out of that, and just you know, working with the team. I had teamed up with another teammate at the time, Ryan Hightower, and you know, he was just a lead generation machine. So when I saw opportunity, I would just say, hey, how can I either learn from you, or is there a way I can partner up with you? So he would generate a lot of those renters to buyers leads. And so they're low for hanging fruit, you know, bottom of the barrel sometimes, because people had a hard time qualifying, or they weren't always committed or wanting to, or, you know, tell you to go away or F off because they want to rent. They're not ready to buy. But we'd try to encourage them, hey, you can qualify, and actually put one client into a house. They were like telling us, leave me alone, I don't want to buy a house. And now I'm helping them sell that house here in Surprise this year, and buy an even bigger house because they're just ready to outgrow that one for their family. But just finding partnerships like that on the team, and opportunities where leads were coming in. You know, I'd go out there and generate from what you taught, and then other people would be generating leads and say, hey, how can we work together? So I did a lot of referrals with agents, because sometimes they can't handle them all, or they want someone to run on the streets for them. And I was happy to take whatever I could get. As I still, even though I was coming into my third year, I felt like a brand new agent, because I was still learning the business, because I hadn't had much experience.
Love it, dude. So, you know, in the last, I don't know, maybe 2 years or so, I mean, you went from like doing good, you know, right? I mean, when I say good, you know, 5 to 10 grand a month, you know, right? Where you're making good income. But then, you know, you've well over doubled that now. I mean, now it's not uncommon to see you know, I mean, this is after splits, after all said and done, you know, 20, 30,000 more months. Like, what have you done between the last couple of years from, you know, kind of what you just talked about to what you're doing today that's allowed you to well over double, you know, the amount of commissions that you're making?
Well, one huge thing I think is I've stayed in the business. This is literally my 5th year in the business now, and my 3rd year on the team. And just being in here, I've gotten to put a lot of people in the houses. And so, like you always say, you know, the fortune's in the follow-up. And I've just stayed in contact through those quarterly calls and popping by every once in a while, or saying hi to people on Facebook and things like that. And a lot of those people are starting to call and say, hey, I'm ready to sell, and I want to buy. So people I was putting in the houses my first time as a new agent, now I'm helping them sell that home. And so that has, you know, like doubled my business. So it's going really strong. On the other side of that, though, I set a specific goal before this year started of the numbers I want to hit, and I've tracked my numbers every year to know what's my volume, how many houses I sell, what's the commissions I take home, where do I want to be. And I got just pretty hardcore about that before 2017 rolled around. And because, you know, at the end of 2016, I felt like I took a little bit of a slump. And, you know, just really committed to providing a type of opportunity for my family and my business that I've not reached yet. And the other thing, too, is there's a little bit more confidence, and not that, you know, I feel like, you know, I'm the best agent in the country, but I know from walking through this how to do this job very well, and to take care of people and to help them meet their needs. So when I'm doing this job, it's, you know, it's not so much, I'm not sure I can get this done for you, but let's figure out how to get it done. and just knowing that what I want. I want to grow this business for myself and my family and then turn it into something bigger. So a lot of it has to do with following up with all the clients I've worked with, setting goals and going after them and tracking myself. Am I sticking to my daily calls? Am I sticking to all the things that I said at the beginning of the year? And just keep looking at that. Like you say, you should be kind of reviewing the stuff nightly. And it's like, where am I at? Am I on track or am I off? And so keeping track of that, kind of like watching the gas meter, you know how much gas you have because you have a gauge. And by tracking all these numbers that I do on my spreadsheets and seeing how I'm performing helps keep me on task to keep going out there and keep working. There's something else I was going to say, but I forgot.
Yep, that's all
so
good,
that's
dude.
okay, though.
Nah, I love it, man. Love it, dude. So, all right, so then, one thing that, and like I told you before we started this, I'm always sharing, in the webinars that I do, and I love your Facebook strategy because you've been so brilliant at, leveraging Facebook as your database to stay in touch with all those past clients and use some really cool stuff there. And you do a really good job, as good of a job as anybody that I've seen, as far as, not making it just about business, right? But kind of just letting people know that, hey, man, I am a realtor. I'm doing a lot of business, right? But you incorporate your family, you incorporate, all of these things, your church, all the things that you're active in. When it comes to staying in touch with past clients, because this is so important, right? The statistics are 88% of buyers and sellers surveyed after the transaction said they love their agent, would use them again. Only 11% ever do, right? Which, like you said, you're not necessarily doing more things. You're just stuck in the business, right? You're continuing to do the things that got you new business, but now you're seeing the fruits of that repeat referral business.
Yeah.
And it doesn't take that long, right? To start seeing that, and it's really paying off for you. So kind of walk us through what you're doing to stay in touch with those relationships. I don't know if it's just social media, if there's other things that you're doing, but kind of walk us through what you're doing.
Well, a huge part of it is social media. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Twitter. I do some Snapchat and a lot on Facebook. And so, I'm not 100% open book on Facebook. I'm not like airing out all my dirty laundry all the time.
Yeah.
But, I might have a reputation in my friends and family circle of be careful what you tell Billy so he doesn't post it without you knowing. So, and I don't go posting people's business, but, I just share a lot. And it's usually the good times, I'm having at business, I'm having with my friends, I'm having with my family. If there's some knowledge I'm learning at that point, if there's a scripture I want to share, just something I'm soaking in, I like to share. So I just share, I'm posting and stuff, maybe taking a selfie on the way to an appointment. But it's also, I've learned through coaching with you is just you're engaging an audience kind of constantly as you're on those things. And a lot of people in the millennial and younger age group are on Instagram, they're on Facebook, they're watching that stuff. And so it kind of excites them to see, when they're seeing your life, they're seeing you interact with your kids, they're seeing your business being successful. And so it's fun both ways. I enjoy getting to see, all kinds of my friends post and people that I look up to and I'm inspired by, oh, that's what they're doing. That's pretty awesome. I should try that. Yep. So I try to integrate social media into my business, as well as just I enjoy it for my life. So I know I've had older agents and younger agents kind of ask me about that. And you really addressed it with me because that was one of the things was you got to let people know who you are and what you do. Yeah. And so I went and changed all my social media to Billy Schneider Realtor. So when you see my name, it's constantly Realtor. Yeah.
But I got one, guys. So I enjoy your posts because you're just a normal person and you skate, and I could see you at the skate park and just normal stuff. Did you have a conscious click between what you were doing before being a realtor into what you're doing now with your social media? Like, was there a conscious decision to be like, okay, this will help my business. I need to at least make X amount of posts per day, and some of them don't have to be related to real estate. Some of them do, stuff like that. Like, what was the switch like? What were you like on social media before you became a realtor?
Yeah, well, that is a good point. It's definitely, there's a lot of intention there. Beforehand, it's just, hey, this is what we're going to go eat, guys. So check out my dinner kind of thing. Yeah. Sometimes videos with the kids and things like that. But, I definitely saw other agents in the business when they post, just sold. I just thought that was like so awesome. I was like, that looks so sick. I mean, look, they're standing there and they got the sold sign over the house. I was like, I like that. So, we got some graphics made on the team by your wife, and they were pretty sick. And so I just started posting those like crazy on Instagram whenever get something under contract or get it just closed. And I had fun with that.
Yep.
So I recently went with David and did all the new headshots and kind of got goofy with it. Just, because make it a little bit funner for the people seeing it, just kind of something to laugh at.
Is there is there a conscious ratio of posts that are personal versus professional that you like?
Yeah.
Are you conscious of that?
I don't like to oversaturate, and, we had talked about, just kind of a 4 posts, either daily or weekly, however you want to handle it. You just want to rotate between your personal life, family, fun times, business, something motivational, things like that. So if I have, something personal I want to share, something about my family I want to post, something motivational, which is pretty much a cycle I do, and business.
Yep.
So, it might get like crazy now where it's like 3 business posts and then it goes like 3 days. You haven't heard from me, and then something crazy.
All right, one last thing is, you say tracking for your numbers in the business. Do you track your social media engagement? And if so, how?
Yes.
Tips for people that maybe want to dive into tracking their progress there?
Now that we have our websites, I'm always putting on there, the searchbybilly.com, valuebybilly.com. So just a couple GoDaddy websites that I picked up to drive them to the website for getting the house value or doing a home search to do some lead capture. So whenever I'm posting about houses for sale, I'm sharing the success that my client had, that I had, but also saying, if you want this, go to this website, get your house value, get a home search today. That way I can see leads coming in from that. So even though it's my personal audience now, it's not just a bunch of Facebook groups.
Yeah, you still get to filter it.
Yeah.
Sick.
And then I kind of see, the response, and, people, love it when you have a good relationship post and stuff like that, and they like the for sale posts. They're just really high up there. I don't always get a ton of action on the motivational stuff, so I might not be the best motivational coach or speaker. I'm not doing something right, but the other stuff, people seem to really enjoy it and stuff.
Nice.
Especially when they see me on the board. So
yeah,
got to get out there and skate a little more.
Yeah, it's like my favorite all-time post years is, it was something like, can your realtor do this? And all of a sudden you drop, like you're in your tie, you're in like a get up like you have on, and you're like riding the bulls inside the skate park, and like I said, man, you've just done such a good job with integrating it, and also bringing out your personality. Right? Like the new ones that you have done, like you're doing like handstands in a suit, like that say just sold on the house and stuff, and it's just, how important is it, or what has the impact been with kind of bringing a little bit of personality into it? Because I know if I just see a just sold, I'm like, okay. But like when I see your stuff, I'm always like wanting to see your stuff. I'm like, hell yeah, that's funny as hell, dude. Right?
Well, I think it's important to be yourself, and when you're new to this business, it can be a little restrictive because you're trying to obtain success, like the guy who's standing there, confident, just sold, $1 million in real estate this year, yada yada, whatever. That $1 million club is not even enough these days. You need the $20 million club. It's $50 million to hit something cool. But when you're new to the business, that stuff, to mimic it, that first couple of years, it's just, I'm just gonna copy, Joshua Smith or whoever's out there to be like that, so I can obtain some success. But now that I've been in this a while and I feel a little more comfortable in my skin, I'm like, I'm gonna let my personality out there a little bit more, and in my appointments and the way I handle my consultations, my listing appointments. I've taken a lot of the things I've learned from my, I had a great mentor, John Enright. My first year, that guy just really coached me super well, and I think that's helped me. I always tell people, if you're gonna get in the business, join a team, get under somebody's wing, save yourself a ton of cancellations. Yep. And my first few years, I didn't have a ton of cancellations, and I think it's because I learned how to do comps right. I learned how to figure out value before appraisal came. I learned to work with these people and do these contracts well, so I wasn't losing clients a ton. I still have lost clients. It's just a given in this business. but being prepared and having that kind of coaching. So having, John, and then coming on the team here and learning all the systems, and just the fact you always told me, man, like, you have unlimited potential. I really did not believe that the first time you told me that across the desk. I was like, cool, thank you. But I have very limited potential. And, I knew who I was, but, still figuring things out. But then having broken through so many walls, now I see, what? I could hit this goal if I want to. I just got to go for it. And having that confidence, just having some experience, having that teaching behind you, it's like, okay, now I want to be me. I want to be Billy. How do I be Billy and do real estate? And I think I'm figuring that out. I figured that out some. I've let it, people see me on the skateboard and the tie and stuff. And I do my social media posts the way I do them. And, I don't get too political or or preachy on the posts, but, I do share who I am. And I think people like that. They want something genuine. I know that's the YouTubers I follow, the bloggers and the vloggers. You like to see other people's lives and what makes them tick. And so I'm a little bit of an open book. My friends that like to hide their location from everybody don't like that. Don't tag me in that post. But that's me. I'm just kind of open for the most part, I guess. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's like when I first met you, man. It was clean shaven, suit every day. Then 2 years into it, the confidence is going up, and then you're rocking the mustache and all of that stuff. As you've kind of expanded into being, getting that confidence and making that internal agreement of, dude, I'm gonna be me, right? I mean, did you feel it? Did you feel any negative pushback to it, or was it all just been pretty much positive?
Yeah. I think your greatest critics are yourself and then people around you. And, I've had, close people. You just feel compared to some of the successful agents, that are around you. And in this valley, 38,000 realtors was the benchmark before. I don't know what it is now in Maricopa, but there's a ton of realtors.
Yeah.
And I know that scares a lot of young agents, like, oh, I shouldn't get in the business, but there's a ton of business out here, more than enough for all of us to crush it. And, I've always believed that ever since being on the team and stuff, but you just always find yourself comparing yourself to someone else. And, try not to let the haters and things, kind of stop me from being who I want to be and what I feel like God's calling me to be. And, I know sometimes it looks like I am crushing it now, which business has been going well, which I'm thankful for, and I'm trying to keep plans in place and keep building on that. But a lot of it on social media looks one way,
Right.
But behind the scenes, it can be very difficult. You have some tough days. But, try not to let how you want to compare yourself to the next agent get you down, or how others want to compare you to, well, so-and-so, they look like this, they do this, they're clean shaven, you're not. But, I tend to attract business still to me because I feel I'm still practicing the right systems, and I'm just an open book to people, and people like working with me. They have said, at least, in my reviews and all the clients that I've worked with, is that they don't feel like I pushed them like a used car salesman.
Right.
And that's just one of the driving things, is you've always said, we're in the people business. So, and that's just my strength from working with people in the past and in youth ministry and my church and now in real estate. I'm like, how can I serve people? Like, if this is my opportunity to do something, how can I serve them? How can I be there for them and make an impact on their lives? And so that's how I kind of go about my business daily when I'm meeting with these people. It's really about listening to what they want and making them feel cared for.
Yeah, and what's kind of cool is once you get that internal confidence to kind of be more you, like you said, you attract more like-minded people, and that's when this business gets fun. Right? Because it just feels like you almost get to the point where they feel like you're making a lot of money just to go out there and work with your friends all day.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely, when you have that freedom, you then can select who you work with.
Yeah.
When this is the type of business I'm running, that I'm here to serve people. And if, people are in it for the wrong reason or they're just not the right client for me, I have the freedom to say, you know what, I think Josh might be the better agent for you.
Right,
But, can refer them out to another agent, which can be very smart. I'm learning too, is to really manage your time really well and protect that. But it's definitely nice to be in a different stage of your career and have some fun with it.
Yeah, so. Yeah, 100%, dude. So outside of social media, and those of you watching and listening, you can Billy Schneider, Realtor. You type that in, you'll probably be able to find him pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Out there. So if you want to follow him, kind of see his stuff and all the stuff that we're talking about. But outside of doing that, is there anything else that you do? I mean, are you hitting him up with phone calls? Are you doing pop buys? I mean, like what? I mean, or is it just kind of, hey, as soon as they become a client, they get friend requested, and I'm just really leveraging that to manage that relationship past close?
Yeah. Well, that is a big part of it. You know, I start working with them. As soon as they literally become a client, I usually reach out to them on Facebook if I can find them, things like that. Send them a soft friend request. I don't hit them up too hard and be like, hey, accept my friend request. And sometimes I get friend requested, and you know, I try to follow up with them through that by posting and just sharing what's going on in my business so they can see it. And I am calling them. I try to stick to a quarterly call. So I set in our CRM system 4 calls a year just to say, hey, what's going on? How you doing? And check in with them, you know, and after we close on a house, they usually get like 3 or 4 calls. And, you know, it's like, sorry, I'm just that annoying agent that doesn't go away. Just want to make sure you're taken care of. And so just mine mainly is call. I don't do a ton of pop buys. I've started doing that recently, which has kind of been fun. So, but I use that phone a lot because it saves a lot of gas and a lot of time.
Yeah.
And you actually get a lot accomplished. You know, people are busy nowadays, and so just speaking to them for 5 minutes doesn't even have to be lengthy. And they remember who you are, and they remember why they worked with you, and you get to learn something new about their life possibly, and how you can better help them in the future.
Yep.
So.
Yep. Love it, dude. So okay, so you're you know, doing the things that got you the business in the first place. You know, your open houses. I mean, you're still out there pounding the pavement, doing the new business thing. We talked about your Facebook thing, where you're seeing the fruits of that with past clients and all of that. I know that you've been having some success also with Facebook leads. And right before we hit the record button, we were talking about, you know, spend a few bucks, got this new seller, that you know, $250,000 listing appointment. You know, right? So a couple $100 turns into a couple bucks turns into a $7,000 commission, and you know, right? What are you doing? Like, kind of walk us like what you did, and we'll just hit on just that specific example because it's one that we were just talking about. Like, what kind of ad were you running? What kind of things do you do? You know, because I mean, a lot of people have difficulties with social media getting listings, right? I mean, it's easy to attract buyer business on social media, but they have, so like kind of walk us through what you did there to get that listing and have success with it.
Yeah. And I played with trying to get listings for like over a year, man. And it was hard to find a formula where people would interact at all. Like I would get almost no hits on that value website of find out what your home's value is. And I'd done a ton of postings. I've tried, hitting up people who are about to go to foreclosure. Like if you need to get out of debt, you need to get out of the house, cash for keys, you know, call this number, go to this website, find out what your house is worth, anything like that. And just different things just were all bombing. But persistency is the key and not giving up, you know. Thomas Edison, 10,000 tries before the light bulb. So, and just I found pictures that's the way we sell houses here, is just price, photos, and presentation. And when there's a nice photo, people stop online. So I almost always use an image in any post I do because it stops eyes, because if it's attention grabbing, you know, you look at it. And so just finding a really beautiful house and just throwing a simple short text, because people hate reading a long thing. And nowadays you have to put in the little videos like click for the sound, like stop now type of thing to get people to listen, because people are watching videos on the John with no audio. And, I get the gist, I'm going on to the next post. So just kind of short and sweet, you know, find out what your home's worth right now, you know, click here, a little beautiful photo of a nice home. And you know, I got quite a few posts. Now I did directly pay for that ad, and it got me several leads. I mean, I was like, where are these leads coming from? Because I had just released a new EDDM flyers to this market I was hitting up, and I circled that area. It was about 2-mile area on Facebook, and also paid to do some Facebook ads. Basically the same market strategy with just, find out what your house is worth right now is the time to sell. And it got quite a few hits, which I would never get hits. So I just felt like it was a short and sweet post, and just a really nice photo to catch their attention, and people up late at night. And you can look at the demographics. A lot of them were older women in that. And so I left it open at like 18 to 75, men and women in a 2-mile radius of this zip code that I wanted to be in. And just, threw a certain amount of dollars at it. Facebook will tell you, you spend this much, this is the audience you'll get, like maybe 2,000 for $10, or you want to reach 100,000, spend $100 type of thing. And that brought in quite a few leads that I was able to deliver CMAs for and get a couple appointments out of.
Do you think that the success with the ad though was, what did you do different? Like what have you learned that you do differently between the ads that you ran that aren't succeeding compared to the ones that are succeeding? Because it seems like you're driving in the same website, so it's not the website.
No.
Right? Does it really boil down to the image, or have you found the text from the image to matter too?
Well, I found, that has worked for me, because I've tried it in the past, just a lot of wording of, because I get a lot of buyer leads through Facebook as well. So I've sampled that a ton, just posting a bunch of groups about, hey, look at houses in Glendale for this price range, things like that. And so I built a large CRM doing basically free posting. And I played around with, a lot of context about, you can get down payment assistance right now. This is the reason why you want to buy. Rents are going up. And I felt like the longer the post was, the less number of leads I would get off of it. So I've really learned to try to condense mine. And it's maybe weird, but it's my system. But I always do like a sentence, and I try to break up the next sentence so you can read it all without hitting that see more.
Yep.
So I try to avoid the see more unless it's a personal post I want to share. Like John Cheplack, he shares some pretty detailed posts.
Yep.
I love it. But I'm in his audience. I want to see what he has to say. So for my audience, I'm laying some stuff out. You'll have to click see more to see the rest. But on these, I know they're just going by really fast, and a lot of people are on Zillow looking at stuff anyways. But when they're on Facebook, they're just going by quickly, and try to really condense the information and break it up. I've noticed when I'm reading something anyways, if I get a text and it's just one long paragraph or even 3 sentences and it's all combined together, there's no breaks in the, split paragraph type of thing, I'll wait to read that till later. Yeah. It's just kind of like it comes onto your mind like, oh, that's too much to handle right now. So that's just how I've thought about it. I'm not like a psychologist. I don't know if I'm hitting the mark or anything, but that's the way I look at it. And so I've tried it out, and it seems to work. Have a couple sentences, spaced apart pretty well without having to click see more. And those tend to get better reaction with, a photo that's kind of eye catching and kind of gets them to stop, I guess. So
yeah, well, I'm
still playing with stuff and taking coaching. So if you got some hints,
yeah, well, it's one of those things where the proof is in the results.
Yeah.
Right? So like you said, well, I'm not a psychologist. I don't really know how the brain, interprets the stuff. Well, it's just do more of what works, right?
Yeah.
What's working, what's not working. And kind of like copywriting 101 is anytime there's 4 lines together in a paragraph, the mind is just disinterested today, okay. Right? So they're like keep it no more than 3 lines to a paragraph with before a break. But again, there's all these rules, right? But it's just like follow your own rule that gets results.
Yeah,
what it
exactly.
boils down to.
Yeah, and I've taken a lot of suggestions, and sometimes it works for some people in a certain demographic. You see, one agent doing something in another state and they're crushing. You try it out for a while, and it's like, all right, that doesn't work here. So, but so keep trying until you figure it out for yourself. But that's the thing, is just persistence. And I know that's probably a little bit why I'm still in this, because, I've hit some rough walls in real estate, and they say like anybody you want to make in this business, you got to get that first 2-year, 3-year hump. And, I've had some times where I had to reach out to family for money, and, even reach out to you for some help, and, paying all back. But, those were tough times. And so it's tough to stay in this business when it's, all or nothing.
Right.
But having that all or nothing and that persistence and that drive, I just, one of my hugest reasons why I do what I do is my family. and that helps me to get up and to go do it, because if I don't, they don't eat.
Yep.
Literally. And my wife is now a stay-at-home mom, and she doesn't work. I mean, she works her butt off. So
Yeah.
I mean, she's like constantly taking the kids to classes, at the gym, to these co-op groups and these other homeschool groups, doing field trips and taking care of the house. And I don't really do the laundry, she does. Like,
Right, yep.
I know people might hate me for that, but like, she just crushes it in the house and taking care of our family. And so I go out there and I generate the income. But knowing that I need to do that, I have to do that, helps me succeed in this business. And now that I've gotten a taste of, okay, I can do this, I have some higher goals of some things I'd like to do for the family and things I'd like to do for myself, and some looking down the road, 10 years from now, where do I want to be in this business or the next, and using this as a stepping stone, things like that, so.
Yep, love it, dude. So what keeps you driven to be looking for the future, looking for the growth? Because, so many people get to that point. Like in the beginning, it was like, dude, your back's against a wall.
Yeah.
Like, but now, you could easily just get to the point where like, dude, I'm just going to maintain and still provide an epic life for my family. Like, what keeps you now today that driven and not accepting just good enough?
Well, I don't have a retirement plan, dude. Like, if I stop working today, like, there's nothing when I'm 65, 75, 85, whatever.
Yeah.
And I honestly am like, how do I take care of my future self so I'm not a burden to my kids?
Yeah.
To where I'm not like crashing on their couch, seeing an old dad, who sold houses for a few years and didn't put anything away. And I know there's all kinds of things, 401ks and different things you can be a part of. And I have a Roth and different things. I'm starting to put my money away and hide it in and try to grow it. But I have things are just getting more expensive, and I'm looking to the future of, okay, how do I take care of myself later down the road? But I also want to change my family tree, and I would like my children to have some opportunities to where if they have big ideas when they're adults and they want to go out and conquer the world and do certain things, there's not that I'm just going to pave the way for them financially, but it'd have been nice to not have to just grind it just to eat, but grind it to, go solve a real problem and have some financial backing. And I'd like to really do that for, the future generations of my family, and just however I can help my extended family. But I also, me and my wife, there's a couple missionaries that we support, a Jesus Mission, awesome organization. They're actually started as a band traveling the world, just playing worship gigs, and now they're sending out other bands and other people to just go to these churches in different countries and just to help people out, man. And it's just really awesome to see what they're doing. We have a couple friends that are our age, and they just were like, instead of buying a house, like we were looking to buy a house, we're going to go to Kenya and minister halfway around the world. And, I'm really moved by that. Like, that stuff kind of excites me, and getting the opportunity to be a part of that without necessarily going and kind of backing them up financially. We don't have a ton to give, and we're trying to learn how to give more, but we want to do that. We definitely want to support ministries and different things around the world and give back. And you can only give as much as you bring in, you know what I mean? And and it's just fun to grow a business to that next level. And I'm just not satisfied.
Right.
I'm sorry. I like where I'm at, but I'd also like to be at a different level and to help more people and to do more stuff on this planet before I say goodbye,
Yeah.
So I'd like to accomplish as much as I can and making a difference. And sure, I can make a difference, not doing real estate. And I feel God might have other stuff for me to do, but maybe I can make a killing here so I can make a huge difference in a great way. And impact, the kingdom, of God, and that I'm looking to do for me personally. And so my faith definitely drives me to really just keep waking up and just be better than I was before. Having my family pushes me to not just sit on the couch and settle, because you can get to a point where you can provide, I can provide, house and shelter and food and all that good stuff,
Yeah.
and clothes, and let's relax. But I don't know, I guess I'm just a little driven to not be satisfied with that. I want to be able to see the world with my wife and do some greater things while we're here, and affect my children's lives in a better way. And money's not always the answer, and I'm not in love with money, but if I can make more of it, I can give more of it away at some point.
Well, yeah, and I know it's something that you and I have had conversations in the past about too. But a lot of people think of driven people as just being greedy, or that they're in love with money. And dude, I don't know anybody that's created their own personal success at a high level that did it for the money. It's almost always, not almost always, every time that I've met or known anybody or whatever, it's from a place of contribution. It just happens that the money follows. And conversation that you and I have had before, because I know, and not trying to classify all religion under this, but there are times where it's like money can look down upon negatively, and some people kind of feel guilty for making money, but it's like, well, if you're making 40 grand a year compared to 400 grand a year, where can you have a bigger impact? Right? And I agree, man. I love it, dude. It's powerful stuff, dude.
Yeah. Well, and I already mentioned Thomas Edison with the light bulb, but that dude didn't just invent the light bulb. Like, he did a lot of different businesses. He was inventing a ton of things. He was an inventor, but he was just driven. What makes a guy like that tick? Was it money, or was that's just what he liked to do? And he would go and he would start business. General Electric. We still get General Electric light bulbs at Home Depot, and that was a company he had started. He got ousted of, but he just kept going after stuff. He could have relaxed after he made the light bulb, live off the profits of that or something. Yeah. But he didn't stop. And I get excited when I see people that are successful. Like, what makes them tick? I try to read their books. I recently read the Elon Musk book.
The Ashley Vance.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So it just, when I see people just going after something with such intensity, it just attracts me to that. I got to read the story. I want to know why they did it, how they did it, and it starts to excite something in me. Like, I want to leave something behind and do something here. I don't want to just live and consume and die.
Right. Pay bills and die. And I think that's the difference between those that have a purpose and those that don't. It's like an orange tree. Mm-hmm. Dude, that orange tree is going to continue producing fruit until the day it starts to decay. Right? Like, its purpose is to bear fruit and produce fruit, and people that don't have a purpose are the people that just, like, once they have enough, they just stop. Those that have their purpose, they become the orange tree, right? And it just, but it's sad that more people don't identify, because it's not maybe necessarily, hey, what's the purpose of life, but what's your purpose to contribute with this life that you have? And it becomes a powerful place, dude. Yeah,
it definitely does. It changes how you look at things, and changes how much effort you put into it, So, and my goals are a lot bigger this year. I typically had hit, like, what was it, like 3 million or so, 4 million a year, which is, it's a lot better, I guess, than your average beginnings as an agent in the industry, but it's not much to write home about. I can take care of the family on that, but it's not a ton. And my goal this year was to hit 11 million in production. And, I'm already creeping up on 3, and we're just going into May. At this point of the year, I'd maybe barely be hitting 1. And, now I'm looking at hitting 3, and it's just like, whoa, like, just the transformation there. Just when you have goals and you have a reason to do something and you say, I got to do this, stuff just starts to happen differently,
Yep.
So
100%, dude. So knowing everything that you know now today with being in the business for 5 years, if you could go back to yourself right now today, and again, knowing everything you know now, and you could go back to Billy 5 years ago, right when you entered this business, and you could give yourself a couple pieces of advice, what would that be?
Oh, dude, be like, hustle, bro. Get to work now. Like, I probably would have joined a team faster. Not sure how the timing would have worked out with that, but just having a team support system to get some coaching. It makes night and day difference. I watch agents that, hey man, I'm gonna get my license. They get their license. They don't do much with it, and because they're trying to do it on their own, and it just doesn't go somewhere. And having that team, that really turned me on to setting goals for myself and seeing that it was possible to hit and able to push myself a little bit harder. So I was really actually bringing home income for my family. And I would go back to my younger self and be like, dude, get to work, one deal for your first year. Like, shame on you, bro. Like, you know, and just also with what you told me, you know, you just have unlimited potential. Try to get into changing my mindset a whole lot earlier on. Because I really, you know, I don't know what it is, my upbringing or whatever, but I believe I have a purpose on this planet, but I also have always felt like, you know, I don't know how much of an impact I can really have. And just having that limited mindset, I wasn't telling myself I couldn't do anything. I'd try anything, whatever, let's do it. But, you know, just trying to open my mind up that you can go out there and you can succeed for your family. You can basically do what you put your mind to. Just go put your mind to it. And, you know,
and hustle.
Yeah. And then get to work, you know. So and I've learned if you put your mind on something, you get it accomplished, you know. Think and Grow Rich. That's that book that has really had an impact on my life. You know, it's really about, you know, talks about, you know, going after money pretty hardcore, but it's the principle there is if you are determined to get something, you will get it if you believe you can do it and you just go after it. You don't tell yourself, no, I can't, you know. Edwin C. Barnes, the guy went and became a millionaire in the early 1900s. I mean, is just helping Thomas Edison sell the Ediphone.
Yeah.
And he showed up at Edison's office, wanting to be a business associate with him. And, you know, he looked like a bum back in the day. He bummed his way on a train across country, showed up to the guy and said, hey, I want a job. I'm going to be your associate. You know, and Thomas Edison could have laughed him off, gave him a job sweeping the storefront. Yep. So he did that for 5 years, working his way up until he saw his opportunity. He knew what he wanted the whole time, and he didn't give up on that. So just having that purpose a little earlier on, you know, I think I could have maybe shortened this because I've seen agents go out there crush it in that first year, 2 years. And, you know, my story's my story. So I'm not going to take away from myself, but I would definitely be like, dude, get to work, man. Work a little harder. And now I'm about to do this, you know, health kick and stuff. And I would be like, watch out for fast food, bro. Like, start packing your lunch a little earlier on. Trust me, in a few years, you're going to really wish you did. So, yeah.
Love it, man. So, you know, I started this podcast, you know, a couple years ago. And the main reason I want to start this podcast is because there's so much information out there, but so much bad information, you know, right? Mm-hmm. And it's hard for people to go out there and get the right information. So I'm like, dude, let's create a space where I interview the doers, guys like you that are in the trenches, that this isn't smoke and mirrors, this isn't theory, it's actual strategy, really to give back to an industry that's changed my life, right? And I know it's changed your life too.
Yeah.
So with that being said, those that are watching and listening right now are here because they want to go out there and create that same amazing life for themselves and their family, and create those same opportunities like you've been able to do for yours. So do you have any last pieces of maybe, you know, advice, inspiration that you'd like to leave them with so they can do exactly that?
Yeah, and I hate to sound like a broken record, dude, but you got to have a purpose and figure out what your purpose is, get crystal clear on that. Hate to steal your stuff, bro. Great art to steal, but just get crystal clear on really what you want and tell yourself that you can accomplish this, and just repeat that to yourself daily on what your goals are. Look at them constantly and keep waking up believing that you can go hit that. And that's really what made a difference for me. I had broke through a wall, you know, when I joined the team, and just starting to believe things a little bit differently. And make sure you get around like-minded people. That's it's easy. I mean, you work in the office. I mean, you work in the world where everybody's hating Mondays and they're looking forward to Fridays, and you are what you eat, right? I mean, whoever's around you and what you're soaking in, that's what you become. So if you're around everybody that hates Mondays and Friday's the only day to celebrate, you know, I don't have Fridays anymore.
Right.
I have weeks that
it's
turn into months. And it's like, whoa, dude, like that year went by too fast. But you just got to get around like-minded people that want what you want, and, you know, that lift you up and encourage you. And it's not that everybody's always going to be there to encourage you when you're in your dark times, but you want to be around the type of people who think the same way you do. And, you know, I'm definitely not the smartest guy in the room, and getting around the people that are smarter and a little more driven than I am, it pushes me. And when I would see people on the team going and crushing it, that's when I was motivated. I was like, man, they're doing that. I got to do that. Like, how can I do that? And you just want to follow in their footsteps. So just getting around people that are goal oriented and go for it and do it really helps encourage you to do it as well.
Yep, 100%, man. Yeah, if you want to soar with the eagles, dude, you can't hang out with chickens.
Yeah.
Right? It's just kind of how it goes, dude. Yeah. So those that are watching and listening, I know I end every podcast with this, you guys, but information without implementation truly is just the start of delusion. Information is not power anymore. It's taking that information, taking action on that creates power in your world. So Bobby back in the Bobby didn't share nothing. He just asked some questions. So Bobby's the dude behind the camera there that was asking some of those questions earlier. Billy shared so many amazing pieces of advice with you guys. Take something that he shared with you, take massive action on so you go out there and create that life you know you want and deserve. And Billy, man, it's been a massive honor, dude, having you on the show. It's one of those things that a lot of our teammates will reach out to me and be like, oh man, thanks for the motivation, thanks for the inspiration, but I think I probably get more inspired than the teammates do by, seeing stories like yours, and you definitely motivate and keep me driving to that next level, man. So it's an honor rolling with you, man, and an honor having you on the podcast, bro.
Honor's all mine, man. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, my friend. And all right, you guys, we'll see you next time. Peace out.